Gosh, well, my hair is a mess. It's kind of crazy. It's been really cold out here in Dallas, Texas. I've been wearing a beanie all day, so you guys will have to live with it as I live with it every single day. So here's what I want to give you guys a quick update. So MrThankYou.com, as you know, we go there to track all the gratitude that we spread around the world, one thank you card at a time. That's what we're going with to inspire 74 million thank you cards written around the world. Many of you guys watching are participants. You're members of Mr. Thank You. Doesn't cost any money. The way you participate is you thank somebody and you tell us about it. So go to MrThankYou.com, create a free account. It's awesome. So right now we are currently at 6,655 thank you cards sent around the world. And we've got 192 thank you cards were sent last week. And that's just awesome. I know the previous week it was like a significantly higher number. It was like 455. 100. I know sometimes people like kind of load up a whole bunch of cards at one time that they've been sending throughout the week or throughout the month. But I mean, that's still exciting. Like, think about that. 192 people around the world were appreciated, were honored, were respected by being given a thank you card last week. So that's pretty exciting. So again, if you have some cards that you have written, make sure to go to MrThankYou.com. Log those cards and spread the love. So I wanted to take this episode to share with you about a card that I got in the mail. So I tend to get cards pretty regularly now, and I love it because what it's showing me is that there's people who are really understanding and taking this idea of living gratitude as an expression rather than like just a personal thing you write in a journal. Like, they're really taking it to a higher level, because that's something that you will just notice if you try it for yourself. Like, just sit down with a journal and write down a couple things that you're grateful for. Like, immediately it's going to create a positive feeling, a positive effect in your life. But when you write a letter to somebody and you express that gratitude to another human being, and then you put it in an envelope and send it out, there's a whole world of emotional intelligence that you're tapping into when we start to live our gratitude as an expression. So just try it out and notice it. It's a really interesting thing. So this is Troy. Troy is a loan officer who was at an event that I recently spoke at. And so I wanted to read his card because it was really relevant to a story that I share in my keynote for those of you who've seen me speak live. So it says, "John, I wanted to thank you for coming in to talk to all of us at Team Wally today. I started reading your book about a week before you came to talk to us. I picked it up, and one of the first stories touched me personally. You know, my father was a pilot for over 35 years. Growing up, I didn't understand why he had to be gone perpetually. I pride myself on being able to put myself in other people's shoes and be thoughtful, but I had never thought about that from my father's perspective. That, combined with the story about the letter you never sent to somebody, have had me write a letter to my father this afternoon, thanking him for doing what he had to do for our family to survive, when I had always framed it as something that he wanted to do. Thanks for opening my eyes, Troy." So what's really great about this letter from Troy, and I'll kind of distill a little bit for those of you who don't know the stories that he's talking about. Number one is the story of the letters that I wrote to pilots, and I've been writing to pilots on planes, you know, for a while now, since like very early on in the Mr. Thank You project. And one of the initial things that I saw was how much they responded with, you know, saying how much they really appreciated getting the cards. And one of the things that I would typically write in the card was, you know, every time I board a plane, I'm constantly praying for safe travel, and to date, you guys have always delivered. And as I was boarding today's plane, I realized how much I missed my family, which had me realize this is what you do every single day for your job. I can't imagine how many birthdays, anniversaries, and things like that you've missed to basically help us get where we needed to go. And so I put that in the card, and it was the reaction was very visceral from a lot of the pilots, because it was very true. That's what they were dealing with. And what I love about a lot of times when I get to deliver keynote or share some of the stories of who I write cards to, right? And again, they range from anybody who would be like a waiter or a waitress or a pilot, could be the owner of a company. I wrote one to the trash man who picked up an enormous, crazy amount of trash the day after Christmas at our house in Plano. And what's interesting is when I share those stories with other people, a lot of times when I'm done speaking, I see someone come up to me, and sometimes they have tears in their eyes because they say, my daughter is a server at a restaurant, and one of the things that she comes home to is just that I come home to is just hearing her complain about the people that she works with, and the clients that come in, and the patrons, and how rude they are, and all these things. And they're basically venting about not being appreciated, not being valued for what they do in their work. And this mother was just like, and so the fact that you took the time to do that, and that you're doing this project, which is inspiring other people to do the same thing, and writing letters to people for the work that they do, it just makes me feel good to know that, that may be my daughter one day. And it has me just realize that in any time, as we're in the world, right, we're meeting people, whether they work at the gym, whether they're the pilot on a plane, they're the manager in our office, whatever it is that they do, we often will view them with the role that they have, right? Like they are the guy who checks me in at the gym, or just the janitor who cleans the gym equipment, or whoever people are. But who are they really, right? Who they really are is another human being. They are somebody's father. They are somebody's brother, somebody's sister, their mother, their grandmother. Like, you don't know who somebody is when you take the time to acknowledge them. And what's really interesting is when we do that, we're not just honoring this person for their work, but we're honoring the human being behind the work that's being done. And that's why I think this is so important, because it's really amazing to me in seeing how people react when they get a card appreciating them for the type of work that they do, or the going above and beyond to help me with something. And it's really interesting because you can tell they're probably just kind of like going through the motions because they've been doing it for so many years, and it's just like part of their job. But when they get acknowledged and are told, thank you for what you just did, I mean, you went above and beyond, that has them momentarily just feel like what they do has purpose, that it actually matters to somebody. When you look at people and when they want to get out of a relationship, or and that could be a relationship with their job, with their boss. It could be like an actual relationship, an intimate relationship, and people want to leave. A lot of times they feel like they're not really understood. They're not seen. They're not valued. They're not appreciated. And so what is this thank you project thing that we're all undergoing? It's not about writing a lot of thank you cards for the sake that it's cool to write a lot of cards. It's an opportunity to acknowledge and to appreciate people. And when you think about all the people that you get to appreciate, start to reflect on the people in your own life, the people that you value and appreciate in your family, and imagine that that's who you're writing to. How might that affect those people in your life, in your family? I remember there was a great, when I was kind of like, as a parent now, when I'm kind of growing up, and I'm a man, and I remember being a young man, and there's this idea of like how you look at a woman, right? And there is this concept of when you start to view her not as just like a woman of attractiveness or whatever, but to realize and remember that they are somebody's daughter, right? That they may be somebody's spouse. They may be someone's sister, right? And like, how would you want somebody to treat them? And that's really what we're doing with the Mr. Thank You Project. It's not about writing a lot of cards. It's really honoring humanity and appreciating people for who they are and their greatest benefit, their greatest gifts or greatest contributions, not for their greatest weaknesses and what's wrong, because it's really easy for us to point out what's wrong all the time because there's constantly things wrong. But when we make it a habit to notice what's great, it's remarkable how people begin to show up in our life, and also how the world starts to look for us. So that's it. So I wanted to say thank you to Troy for sending me this awesome card. If you guys have any correspondence you'd like to send to Mr. Thank You, you can feel free to go to our website, mrthankyou.com. At the very bottom, we've got our mailing address. You can send anything you'd like out there. Again, I do read every letter that comes in, and as you know, I have a ritual that every time I get a card from somebody, I like to put it on my gratitude wall behind us. So I'm going to take a second and grab a pin and put this card up somewhere, and hopefully I don't fall. All right. There we go. Thanks, Troy. Thanks, everyone, for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video, and y'all have a great rest of the day. Peace out.